All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Wolverine Studios Twitch channel for a very special edition of the developer Dynasty. Today we are talking Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2023 as the game has moved into first access tonight. We'll talk all about the first access deal at the start, and then we'll get into some of the new things that we're looking at for the game this year. But I'm joined, as always, on the Football Dev Dynasties by the game's lead developer, Brooks. Brooks, how's it going tonight?
Oh, it's going great. Got some Thursday night football to watch later, and got first access starting. Great
Yep,
night.
and we know Thursday night football's on, so we figure it's a good day to release our first access. For anybody who is new to the channel or maybe looking for our typical Thursday night streams that our community manager C. Jackson Coward has been running, he's moved those to Wednesday nights because of Thursday night football, so that you don't have to miss out on either one of those things. So make sure you're joining him every Wednesday at 8 p.m. here on our Twitch channel. He is doing playthroughs right now of Draft Day Sports College Football 2023. So check that out. That's always a good time. Always thank you to our followers and our subscribers. I always remind people that if you use Amazon Prime, which so many people do, you get a free subscription if you link it to your Twitch account, and you can sub to any channel you want every month for free. So we appreciate anybody who uses that sub on our channel. It helps us out a little bit for doing these type of things. We're going to start talking about the new game here tonight. This is the first access version of it, which means it's still technically a beta. And you can go to our website as soon as the stream is over, wolverinestudios.com. You can pre-order. There is a discount code in the web store, so you can get a discount for pre-ordering. Everybody who pre-orders gets immediate access to the betas, and you can also claim a complimentary Steam key when the game is available eventually on Steam. During this beta period, we always, we encourage everybody to play test and, submit any things that they find that aren't working right, or small suggestions that they have. And then the team will clean all those up before the final release. If you have any other questions about the First Access program, we have a link in our web store and on our forums that explains kind of the whole program in detail and why we do it that way. So with that said, let's get right into it. The first thing that I want to bring up is a brand new feature to the game this year that I'm pretty excited about. It is called Road to MVP. And in this mode, you are taking the control of the career of a player as opposed to GM. This is something that we're still working on internally. So in the first access build, it's not open to click on and go through yet. But I wanted to bring it up and let Brooks kind of talk about it, just for kind of an explanation purpose of what it's going to be, and then it's going to be unlocked fairly soon in the upcoming beta version. So Brooks, why don't you introduce everybody to Road to MVP?
Yeah, so Road to MVP is kind of an evolution of what we started last version with the Play as a Player module that we had installed. We basically wanted to turn it more into a full-fledged game mode as opposed to just extra actions that you would take on a player. So what it's going to end up being is almost like an RPG element of our pro football game. You start as a player, you get to set, their ratings however you like. You'll get to determine if they're drafted immediately to a team, or if you just kind of want to see what team signs you. And then you'll just basically go through that player's career. You'll get to choose what teams you may sign with. You'll get to see how your player performs. You'll have very little control over the sim aspect of the game. So you won't be dealing with playbooks. You won't be dealing with coaching decisions or anything like that. I mean, you're basically playing as the player. So only decisions that the player would be able to make are going to be in your toolbox. But it's going to be an interesting way to kind of explore what it would be like to play in a professional career and kind of what decisions go into different things. So we're excited about it. It's not quite ready for first access yet. There's some some things we need to polish and iron out before we're ready to completely make it go. But it should be there pretty quickly.
I'm really excited about the idea when Brooks told me that they were doing this in this version. I had always kind of thought about something similar for the basketball game, so I'm really excited to let Brooks be the test subject on this and go through all the initial growing pains first, and see how it works out, and then maybe one day we will port that into the pro game. So thank you, Brooks, for being the test pilot here on on this one.
Yeah, no, it'll be something that we can grow. And we're always looking for different ways to explore playing the games. It's evolved over several years, and we've added different facets to focus on. And this just seems like another fun way of playing the game. So, we'll get feedback. We'll continue to improve it. We'll add features to it. We'll add more depth and immersion to it, and over time, it'll just get better and better, just like all the other aspects.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's definitely a cool idea and a way to introduce something new into the game that that doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in any of our games, and it's not something that it's not taking anything away from the game, by adding this different model. It's just adding something new. So something for anybody who's interested in kind of exploring a new idea in the game. It's there for you. If it's not your thing and you're just interested in the GM side of things, we've still got that. Obviously is the backbone of the game, and it's only gotten better, this year as it does with every version. So, it's a fun new idea, and I look forward to seeing everybody's feedback on it. But with that said, let's get into the real meat of the game, the career mode, general manager side. Um, there's a lot of things that I was interested in this year that came to the college game and now are coming to the pro game, and we're going to go over some of those things tonight. So one of the biggest things I think is the new updated packages and stuff like that comes on with the strategy side and energy and player substitutions and rotations. So let's start there, Brooks. Let's talk about kind of the new things coming strategy wise here to Pro Football 23.
Sure. The rotations and substitutions and the AI logic in the engine, both for the college and the pro game, have they've been tinkered with for years now, and this is a significant change to it to try and give more control to players, but also more risk versus reward as far as the decisions that coaches make. So you have to, well, in the new version in PF23, it's going to work a lot like college game, where now we have a set number of packages that you would be filling out. The packages are then set up with percentages, so you can kind of dictate which package for each formation that you want to run, and what blend of those packages are you going to deploy to do this kind of thing. So you still have all the power of assigning packages to formations, but now we're expecting that users will create more packages, specifically around rotational players or highly focused packages for specific deployments. So the number one example for this is allowing better control over running back by committee, or rotating in defensive line, or rotating offensive line, rotating whole packages of receivers in. And it specifically is that way so that we can take advantage of more endurance and energy based calculations in the engine. So instead of just the AI overriding all of the players' decisions on how you set up your packages and how you set up your formations, now energy kind of dictates a lot of that substitution logic. So there are configuration options for how tired the players get before you sub them in and out. There are point margins in there for substitution logic to know when to drop into your garbage time complete throw in all the backups package that is now package number 5 in the system. And all of that is there so that you have the ability to kind of tailor how much rotation there is, how smart the AI is in doing this versus just sticking straight to your numbers. So anywhere in the AI in the engine before where the AI would force substitutions on the user, that's all been taken out. That doesn't happen anymore. Now it goes strictly based off of these percentages. It's still somewhat of a dice roll to figure out which package to pick, but yeah, now there's a lot more control in the user's hands for all of these different scenarios that they want to deploy it to. So.
And I think that's going to be really a big thing for um, our league players. The multiplayer league players. I think that they're really going to hone in on what works for their particular team and really try to outdo everybody else in the league. And I think that's just going to help make those leagues even stronger.
I think the overall feedback over the years has been that people don't like the engine and the AI messing with their stuff. And this is a step towards alleviating that, but still not letting people break the engine, right? The last thing I want is for the engine to go out, for people to set up all these things and have it just be completely game breaking and unrealistic and, just off the charts with what numbers players put up and that kind of thing. So this step is significant because it does give a lot more control back to the players, but there are also new mechanisms in place to somewhat rein it in or at least create risk reward scenarios where if you want to overuse your running back, you want to overuse your defensive tackles, whatever you have set up, you potentially could run into more injuries. You could run into lower efficiency. You'll see more missed tackles. You'll see more fumbles. You'll see players get tired and just flat out run slower. I mean, there's a lot of adjusting that goes in based on that. So we're looking forward to seeing how people take advantage of it. And as with all of our releases, as we get more and more feedback, and as we see the results come in, we can always fine tune things and release patches and whatnot to clean up any issues that come of it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what people do with it.
Yep, and as I mentioned with our multiplayer leagues, we have a number of what we call featured leagues on our website. So these are leagues that they really go above and beyond in terms of they put out great content on social media. They do they do Twitch streams, they do YouTube videos, they do like previews for their leagues and stuff. There's some really cool stuff. So if you are looking for a league to join, we've got 2 on our website on the featured league links right now, the WWPF and the CSFL. We're also adding a brand new featured league momentarily, the PSFL. If you watched our Twitter account, we retweet their stuff all the time. So if you're looking for a great league to join, check out those leagues, and you can get in there and test your abilities against some of the best DDSPF players out there. I know that you mentioned too that there was updated plays talking about Wishbone and RPO and stuff like that. I brought up the custom play creator here just to give everybody a reminder of what's there. What kind of updates are we looking at in those areas?
So we basically ported over quite a few of the play adjustments that we made in college. I don't know how useful they are in the pro game, but they're there now. It depends on, if folks want to go back and play a 1960s style of NFL game, or if they just want to, another, knob to turn as they're trying to dial up plays in their multiplayer leagues, right? We're not exactly sure how useful the wishbone and things are going to be, but they're there now for completeness or for realism's sake, for sure. So we've added in the wishbone plays, we've added in RPOs, which again, the NFL is kind of changing. There may be a little bit more RPO here and there. There may be less. Kind of depends on the ebb and flow of how the pro game goes. But we've added the RPO system in. We've added a lot more motion. Specifically, there are a couple of folks in our beta team that are power users and really wanted to see how far they could stretch the custom play aspect of the game. So they've been working with me on modding some play XML kind of things that allow for specific motions, motion directly to spots, recreating pistol formations, things like that. So we don't have to adjust the actual formations in the game. These are more variants of existing formations. But the motion allows you to do some of that stuff and create new wrinkles to your custom plays. We're looking forward to seeing how people take advantage of some of those things as well.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. People, if you're new to the game, in general here, this game has so many customization options, and I love the custom play aspect because I mean you could spend hours here just developing your playbook and your strategy and stuff like that. For people who that's not their thing, you don't have to do it. There's the playbooks in there. You can let the AI handle those things and just sign the players, trade and draft and sim along. But if you really want to get into like a football coaching experience, Draft Day Sports Pro Football is the game for you because there is just so much detail, so many things you can do, so many things you can play around with that it's just hours and hours and hours of fun for somebody who really likes that sort of thing. So make sure that if that's your kind of game, if that's your kind of style, get in here, get that playbook going, come up with some awesome plays, and even tweet them out and show us the cool things that you're doing with the playbook and see what kind of strategies you're coming up with, and kind of you can share that with everybody and let everybody see how good you are.
Yeah, the custom play builder has been kind of a nice middle ground between people who don't want to touch anything versus people who get a little nauseous at looking at a big giant XML file. So the fact that we're able to kind of hit this middle ground where people can create their own plays, create some wrinkles, try some different things, I think is a fun screen to play with.
All right, so let's move on to some of the other things. As I'm going to click around some screens and kind of show people who maybe aren't familiar with the game so much, kind of what's here. But I know you talked about having some engine logic updates. I know some things came into college football this year to kind of help the logic. What sort of things did we include this year that were improvements to the sim engine itself?
Yeah, so the sim engine, we're constantly trying to identify scenarios where the decisions made by either players or by coaches is just not optimal. Some cases we want a certain element of randomness in things because that's football, right? I mean, things just don't always go the way you expect them to go. Sometimes people make bad decisions. Sometimes plays don't work out the way you expect. But there are always going to be gaps in a coded engine. I mean, there's so many different wrinkles or so many different interactions in the code that affect how these plays turn out. And sometimes there are gaps. Sometimes they're just things that need to be fixed, whether it's decisions on when to call a timeout or how much clock to use up before you call a play, or when do you run, when do you pass, all of those kinds of decisions. So they're too numerous to go into any particular detail, but yeah, those are the general tweaks that we try and make to the underlying engine, just to keep our stats in line, to keep our behaviors in line, to keep the formations working correctly, to keep the decisions that you see as you're watching the game logs make sense. So yeah, we do a fair amount of that, and we're always looking for more feedback. We're always looking for specifics on things that people see that just don't quite look right, and then we have to check: by design that we want it to be a little random, or is this a scenario that we need to button up? So yeah, so a lot of those little tweaks have been made, and hopefully it's better for folks. And if they continue to find things that they want us to adjust, let us know. We're always looking for more feedback.
And I think that in talking about this, um, that one thing that I think people sometimes don't think about in terms of our games is how much work goes into updating the engine every year and making sure that things, get better and better, every single year. And I think they look at, some other games, for like PlayStation or Xbox or whatever that are big title football games, and they say, "Well, look at how great the graphics are. They put a ton of work into making players look 10% more realistic this year." But then when they go to play the game, the same issues with the gameplay have existed for a decade. And yeah, we don't have the 3D, the let's make everybody look super realistic type graphics, but we're putting that work into the engine to make sure that it gets better and better and better every year, and the stats are more realistic, and the choices that you have running the team, that there's more of those, and they can impact more things, and they make the game more realistic. So it's a lot of upgrades and a lot of work and a lot of effort that you never see on the screen. It's all in the code, and you just see it in the results and the realism of the game itself.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's complicated stuff. This stuff is not going to be perfect. There's always going to be edge cases. There's always going to be head scratching moments, and like I said, some of it we do on purpose because we want it to mimic a real life game.
And
But
those
some of it
happen
is
those happen every season in the NFL, like when a coach
all the
takes the
time.
wind instead of the ball in overtime.
Yeah,
So I mean, these things happen, and they have to happen in our games too to make it realistic.
yeah. So where we want to differentiate is if something is just flat out broken, if something is just wrong all of the time. Like those are the scenarios that we want to improve. And it's like you could flip a coin and you're going to know it's either going to be heads or tails. You could roll a six-sided die and you're going to end up with a 1 to 6. Well, imagine a football engine that's got a dice with 5,000 faces on it, right? And I could roll that dice till the cows come home, and I might not ever hit the number that our users happened to hit when they were playing a game one random Thursday evening. So, the more information we get from all of our users, the more details from the logs that they show us, the more times it happens. If it's a particular issue they think is egregious, yeah, I mean, send us the details. We're more than happy to track down some of those things, and the more information we have, and uh, the more details we get on those reports, the easier it is for us to fix it. And we're happy to do that. We're never going to claim that this engine is perfect. It's perfectly imperfect at the moment, but that's the way it goes. And like I said, we've always shown a real, you know, happiness to do these kinds of fixes to make the engine better. It serves us to do it the right way. It makes it better for the users. So yeah, we're happy to take a look at those, and we encourage the feedback.
Yep, and in the seven versions of the game, I think that it's night and day from where the game started. Not in terms of just how it looks and how it plays and the wide amount of features, but I think every single year the engine's gotten better and better, and we've given it more to work with, more options, more choices, and I think that you've really done a good job every year improving that. And I like to point that out, how important that upgrade is every year, because that is our version of everything looks 10% more realistic with a better graphics card and all this kind of stuff. you know our version of that upgrade is what happens in the engine and the results you get to make it a better simulation game.
Absolutely, and it's not just the engine and the results, right? It's the processing. It's how long it takes to sim a season. It's the fact that people can sim 85 seasons in a sitting and get results. I mean, all of that stuff matters, right? We focus on all of it as best we can. And that might mean that we don't get to, the nth level of detail on one particular feature, but, we might hit somebody else's feature really hard, or, we might improve or add a new feature that someone else was asking for. And so we try and spread it across every aspect of the game. And, but we do want to keep moving everything forward. We want to make it look better. We want to make it work better. We want to make it, more realistic, and we want to make the stats look better. Right? We want to constantly improve every year, and we hope that we're achieving that goal every time out.
And and there are, of course, new things to look at. One of them is on the screen now, the trophy room, which appeared again in College Football 23 this year. I really like this. I like how it looks. I like being able to look back at your, the history of your team here and see all of the great things your team has done. The guys who've won awards, even if you've got a championship like we do in this fictional league here. I think that's a really, really great addition. And if you noticed on the player cards, the awards are shown there too. So, there's a lot of these type of things in the game as well that, you can look at here and see, upgrades like this for the visual aspect and something new to look at as well.
Yeah, the trophy room was a fun thing to add in a college game, and we had planned the whole time to pull it into the program as quickly as possible. It's fun to see, especially if you have a team like Detroit that might not win Super Bowls every year. In this case, they won one, which is fantastic. But not every team is going to be competitive every year, and when you play, you might gravitate towards teams, you might gravitate towards players, coaches. There's all kinds of different things to attach, emotion to. And in this particular case, getting trophies is kind of fun. It's kind of neat to see, hey, we had a terrible season, but wow, this guy, we had 3 people that landed on the Pro Bowl roster, right? That kind of thing. So we certainly want to, highlight those kinds of things, and we wanted to do it in a way that's a little more aesthetically pleasing, right? We didn't want to just dump it all into another grid. We have those all over the place in the game because it's a real efficient way of showing information. But where we can stretch our design legs a little bit, we want to make it a little bit more fun for people to look at. This is iteration 1. This was just our first stab at it. This is something Gary probably didn't even know was coming, that we just decided to put in. And so as he has time to noodle on it, and as we evolve it and add more awards, then yeah, there'll be more customizability around it. There'll be more, more graphics around it, more abilities for people to put their own graphics in, maybe. So yeah, it'll be another one of those features that we continue to evolve over time.
Yeah, and that's how a lot of things have happened in our games over time. We start with something, and the community comes in and says, "Hey, I want to do this. Hey, let's add this," and it gets better and better over time. So that's one of the reasons I really like the First Access program, is because we get extra help from our community, and we get people to give us feedback. And if there's small things that they come up with during that time, we can change them and we can patch the game and stuff like that. And if they have really cool big ideas, we can put them down in the notebook and save them for the future when we can implement big big new things. So it's always important for us to hear the feedback from the community and and take what we've got and help us build on it.
Yeah, that's a great segue. The whole First Access program for me is fantastic because it's a great way for people to get their hands on a game and then to let us know, did we hit the mark, right? Is it stable? Does it have issues? Are there things we missed in our testing? Are there things that we missed in the features that we chose to include in this game? Because it's not too late to change things. It's not too late to tweak, results here or there. It's not too late to tweak, aspects of the UI, or it may be too late to add, really giant features, but maybe not. So it's great to get this in the hands of people early so that there's still time. It's still early in the pro football season. People are just getting their hands on this game. And it's going to be great to see what feedback comes out of it and what work we can still put into it before we call PF23 done and wrapped. So we'll have all of first access to take feedback and to adjust things. And obviously, once the game releases, we'll continue to support it via patches of things. As you know, if people happen to find issues that we need to tweak, we're more than happy to do it. And in this particular year, it's going to be fun because the college game released somewhat recently. So we're still in active development of patches for that. So as we find issues, maybe that affect the engine in both games, or as we find UI things that we want to change or new features or whatever that might cross against both games, we can knock them both out at the same time, which is nice to have that kind of active development going on both at the same time. Um, I'm I'm glad First Access is starting, and I look forward to what people have to say.
Yep, and as you know, you brought up the college game. Um, don't forget, we can link. You can link your college and pro games together, so you can have seasons running at the same time, and you can graduate players from the college league into the pro league. So you can create this huge giant football universe for yourself. That's pretty easy to do. I know there's people in our Discord channel and forums and stuff who can help if you're just getting started with that and you're not quite sure how it works. But you can absolutely do that and enjoy. With the college game coming out early this year, um, you know, you get the opportunity to play both games at the same time during active football season, which I think is a help for everybody. So we really thought about that this year in terms of when we're going to launch the college game and trying to launch the pro game as close to the start of the season as possible as well. So don't forget that aspect. If you're just been into the pro game before, you're just checking us out. Check out the college game too, and get them both, and then you can play two different seasons at the same time. Move your players along from college to pro, and have really a huge football world all for yourself. Before
Absolutely.
go ahead, Brooks.
No, that was it.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Before we finished up, I know there's more things. I just kind of wanted to touch on some of them and give you a chance to bring them up. I know you mentioned there's additional fog of war options. There's things like career-ending injuries. That sounds really cool. And some updated coach hiring things. So, want to hit on a couple of those things before we wrap things up here?
Yeah, the Fog of War is, I think, really changes the way the game is played. I know C. Jackson in his stream last night was playing around with the Fog of War stuff and was asking questions about it. It really makes the game much more difficult if you enjoy to play it that way. So basically, what you do is you can set the range of what your player ratings can be. So they can be as nebulous as 1 to 5. They can be 1 to 10, 1 to 20, 1 to 100 is obviously what the default is you're looking at. But by adjusting how foggy the players are, it makes it really hard to determine, what specific output you're going to get from players, right? So you might have players rated on a 1 to 5, and it's going to be really hard to tell the difference between all of the people rated as a 5, because are they 80 level players or are they 99 level players? The Fog of War is a lot of fun. I know a lot of people are looking forward to that. They might switch over some of their multiplayer leagues and whatnot into more foggy scenarios, which helps with just makes them a little bit more competitive. It's not just a open up this spreadsheet, apply this formula, and sort by your favorite value and then pick the one on top. I think it's going to be a lot more complicated than that. So Fog of War is going to be fun. Career-ending injuries is another one of those that people have been asking for it for a while. It's a part of the game. I understand. So yeah, we put a checkbox in there so they can turn it on if they want. So now there'll be a certain level of percentage where particular players who get really severe injuries would also, get career-ending injuries as well, and they'll just retire at the end of the year. So, there are things like that we added. That was a community request. And you mentioned the coach updates. Our beta team has been fantastic about giving us feedback on how things work. A lot of the coach carousel things that we did for the college game just flat out don't make sense in a pro game. So we were able to go in and adjust the logic, adjust what kind of coaches you could target in your hiring. how many are going to be like more unemployed coaches that left a previous team versus how can you hire away from another team? Those kinds of scenarios have been altered specifically for the pro game to make more sense in the pro world. So we were able to take a lot of the feedback from the beta team and tweak those things to make them hopefully more receptive to the people who buy the game.
Yeah, and while you were going over those things, I was just clicking around the option screens just to show everybody how many options there are. I mean, you can customize these leagues, I mean, to your liking and make it exactly how you want. There are so many options here, so many things you can change, so many things you can tweak. It's just, I mean, it is a football fanatic's dream of a game. I mean, it's so good, and every year it gets better. Every year, the big tweaks, the big changes in the engine, maybe that you don't get to see, as well as the things on screen that you do see, the additions, the extra options, extra choices, all those kind of things. It's really a great new version of the game. I'm really excited about it. I think Brooks, you've done a great job. Asker, done a great job as always. The beta guys helping out have been super. It's just an all around awesome effort, and I'm really excited about it. I'm excited that we launched it tonight. I hope that everybody watching the stream is excited about it and is heading over to the web store in about 2 minutes to go get their hands on the game. It's really a good version of the game. I'm so happy with where the football games have come over the past few years, and I think that we really are providing the best football and basketball simulation games that there are.
Yeah, it's been a great release so far, and kudos to our modders and our beta testers and all the people who will participate in first access. And we couldn't do it without all of the feedback. As this screen you're looking at now, I mean, 80% of the stuff that we do, to some extent, is driven by suggestions and ideas from the community. So thanks to them for sticking with us, and we hope you enjoyed this release.
Yep. So that's I think that's a lot to go through in one night here as a preview for the game. Brooks, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on and do this. Um, I really encourage you to get in on this version of the game this year and pick up the college one too while you're at it. Like Brooks said, there's still if things come in, there's still maybe patches and updates coming for that as well. I love that you can link them together and have a huge football universe that you can play every single day. You don't have to wait for Saturday or Sunday or Thursday or whatever days football. You're getting more football during the week now, but you can play this every day. You can play all season, all through the off season to get that football fix, and it's really a great game. Thanks to the modders as well. I know in the first access forum, I think there was already a link to mods for the game. So the modders are on point as always. They've got things ready for you, and it's going to be a great year of football here at Wolverine Studios. Anything to say before we wrap it up for the night, Brooks?
No, I think we covered quite a bit.
I think so too. I'm really excited with the stuff we covered. Obviously, there's still other things beyond that you'll find and discover as you play through. So just to wrap it up, first access underway right now. You can pre-order at wolverinestudios.com. The official launch will be in a couple weeks, along with the official launch on Steam. First access is only through our website. So if you want to get in on the beta, you want to start playing tonight, head over there right now and get your copy of Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2023. Thanks to everybody who came out for the stream. Thanks to all of our followers and subscribers here on our channel. And of course, thanks to Brooks and Asger and everybody who's helping out with the beta for getting us another great football game here at Wolverine Studios. We will be back on our Twitch channel next Wednesday. C. Jackson Cowart will continue his college football playthrough, his college football season, and we'll have more news on Pro Football 2023 as well as Pro Basketball 2023, which is just around the corner as well. We'll be having a developer dynasty or two soon about some of the new options there. And hey, in the meantime, happy gaming, everybody. Have a great rest of your week and weekend. Enjoy the football tonight and all weekend long, and enjoy a whole season of awesome football from Wolverine Studios with Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2023. We will see everybody back here on our Twitch channel real soon. Have a great night.